Why do we keep having the same arguments? Because arguments are resistance within your energy field becoming visible. People often ask, why do we keep having the same argument over and over again? Usually, it's for two reasons. First, you haven't identified what the real problem is. And if you're trying to solve the wrong problem, then you end up trying to use the wrong solution. Second, this isn't an argument between two people. It's an argument with two aspects of yourself. Two parts of you that exist and have a perspective that needs to be validated, seen, heard. The goal isn't trying to manipulate the other person to adopt your point of view or to live your role, but to communicate so that you both get to a place of emotional peace. Not just you, not just them, both. I'm not talking about the kind of argument you going looking for or jumping into on social media voluntarily. I'm talking about the conflicts and arguments that force themselves into your daily life. So how do we resolve conflict? We start by identifying the feelings underneath the situation, not the behavior, not the words, the feelings. Then we learn how to speak to the other person in a way that validates their perspective, while also helping them understand what's in it for them if they embrace your point of view. Because here's something important to remember. Apart from the fundamental laws that affect all human beings, most opinions are subjective. Nobody has to see life your way. Nobody needs to agree with your interpretation. And if you don't find a peaceful solution, you both lose. So a powerful question to ask is, what is the feeling I'm fighting for? And what is the feeling they're fighting for? Let me give you an example. I was working with two business partners who were stuck in an argument about how they were marketing their business. Neither could understand why the other person couldn't see their point of view. Both were frustrated, both were angry. One of the things I pay attention to is whether I'm speaking to a man or a woman, because in my work, those energies often reveal which side of life is speaking. The masculine reflects physical reality, the things that become tangible, visible, measurable. The feminine reflects emotional experience and potential, the feeling of life, the quality of the experience. So I started with Mary. I asked, "What are you upset about? Why are you angry?" She said, "I'm angry because Ben has set up AI to create blog posts for our website and social media. 2 posts are being published every day, and he isn't even checking them. How do we know they're representing our products and services properly?" Then I turned to Ben. "What is upsetting you?" He said, "I'm angry because she keeps criticizing everything I'm doing." Now notice something. On the surface, this looks like an argument about marketing, but it isn't. So I asked both of them to stop talking about what the other person was doing and identify the feelings underneath. This is what was really happening. Ben was experiencing, "You don't trust me. You don't value what I do. You keep finding fault with my efforts." Meanwhile, Mary was experiencing, "You don't care. You're disconnected from the people we're trying to help. You're not paying attention to how others feel." Now we're getting somewhere, because underneath the argument, there are two unmet needs. The masculine side, representing the voice of physical reality, is asking for trust and validation. The feminine side, representing the voice of potential and emotional connection, is asking for care and consideration. Most people would let an argument like this blow over, but that's not what we want. Arguments are resistance becoming visible. They're showing us something that wants attention. If these feelings remain unresolved, they don't just affect the relationship, they affect everything the business touches. Think about it. If all the business activities are infused with mistrust and invalidation, what do customers feel? They feel hesitation, uncertainty, doubt. Something feels off. And if the potential of the business is infused with a feeling of not caring, customers feel that too. Without knowing why, they start questioning, do I really connect with this? Do I care enough to buy this? Is this meaningful to me? So how do we heal it? The goal is not deciding whether the AI content stays or goes. That's not the problem. The goal is peace, because the only real problem is the resistance. Ben needs to feel trusted, valued, and recognized for what he's contributing. Mary needs to feel that the business genuinely cares about the people it serves. That emotional connection matters. That customer experience matters. So I guided them through a conversation, not about who was right, but about why each of them cared so deeply about their position. I asked Mary to explain how customers experience a website, how images create emotional reactions, how people feel when they're overwhelmed by information, how customers disengage when they don't feel seen. I wanted Ben to feel the force of her connection to the customer. Then I asked Ben to explain his perspective. He talked about visibility, reach, traffic, being found. He explained that the content was helping more people discover the business, that obsessing over every detail wasn't what inspired him. What inspired him was making the business visible. And suddenly, both people could see something important. Neither was wrong. They were serving different functions. The masculine was doing its job, trying to make the business real, to make it visible, to make it discoverable, to make sure people could find it. The feminine was trying to make the experience meaningful, to make people feel value, to create connection, to help customers see themselves in the story. Mary explained that the images needed to be warmer, more emotional, more unique. She wanted people to recognize themselves in the business. And once Ben understood that, he agreed. Adjustments were needed. The images could improve. The emotional connection could improve. And Mary then felt heard. She found peace. Then I asked Mary, can you trust Ben now? Can you trust his ability to create visibility and traffic? Can you trust the evidence of 25 years of successful business experience? She paused, and then she said yes. She could see his role more clearly. She could see the value in what he was doing. Then I turned to Ben. Can you trust that Mary's obsession with images and headlines isn't criticism? Can you trust that she's trying to improve the connection between the business and the customer? He agreed. He could finally feel her role. He could see that her frustration wasn't about mistrusting him. It was about protecting something important. And once he understood that, he found peace too. So what's the takeaway? Every argument contains feelings that haven't yet been understood. Most people focus on behaviour, but behaviour is only the surface. The real conversation is happening underneath. If you want conflict to resolve quickly, identify the feeling, validate the feeling, and then provide evidence that helps dissolve the misunderstanding. In this case, Ben simply wanted Mary to understand his value and to validate that what he was doing was achieving the mission. Mary simply wanted Ben to understand hers, wanted him to see that this is her role and what she's doing is achieving that. Once they could both see how their contributions were working for the same goal, the argument disappeared. Not because someone won, but because both people found peace.